So Nathan, how's Brexit treating you?
It's... Kyle, why you got to depress me in the first 30 seconds?
It wouldn't be a good podcast if I didn't.
It's fine, Kyle. You know, we've been out the EU for approximately 25 minutes. And nothing's changed yet. People are still getting burgundy passports and everyone's complaining about it. Which is, you know, the most stupidest thing, because everyone knows that our current red burgundy passports are much nicer than the proposed blue ones.
Obviously, burgundy's the colour of royalty.
Of course. The best colour. Hi, Kyle.
Hello.
So, we've got lots of things to talk about in this non-special episode for a change. When was the last time we had a non-special episode?
It was at least 3 or 4 months ago.
This episode is so rare, it really in itself is a special episode.
Special in its unspecialness.
An unspecial special.
What you been up to, Nathan? You got things you want to discuss?
Yeah, I've got a few things I want to discuss. Ladies and gentlemen, we are recording this on the night of the Academy Awards. The Oscars, the biggest film event of the year.
I was not familiar. Well, I know what the Oscars are. I didn't know they were happening tonight.
Yes, it's the it's the 92nd Oscars. That's what it is. The 92nd annual Academy Awards. Yes,
they've been going on for 92 years.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yep, great. And of course, recently we just lost a Hollywood legend in Kirk Douglas at the age of 103 years old.
Hashtag I'm Spartacus.
I am Spartacus, yes, that guy in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and all that, yeah. True Hollywood legend. Kind of, you know, obviously lost to the decades for us young'uns. Because, like, even when we were born, he was still ancient. You know, he hasn't been young since our parents were babies.
That's valid.
You know, he was, when he was born, the Battle of the Somme was still raging, Kyle. Think of that. It's hard to...
I mean, 103 is a pretty good life.
Yeah, 1916 he was born, I believe. And it's truly amazing. So, like, obviously, it's sad that someone's died, but it's also just you're in complete awe that someone's been able to hold out that long. He was at the Golden Globes in 2018 with his daughter-in-law, one Catherine Zeta-Jones, and everyone was really shocked because no one knew he was at the event. He's kind of retired from everything now. Or had retired from everything. And he showed up on stage when she was there to present an award, and everyone was just shocked, you know. It's like, man, you're still alive. Wow.
You know, I don't think I've ever watched a Kirk Douglas movie.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll call it here. We'll see you next time.
Hey, I don't know if we've discussed this. I don't watch movies.
Yeah, that's fine. Most people haven't. It's just, you know, yes, they are old films. Like, they were old even when we were very, very young. He was that old. Our grandparents.
Just to be clear, we're old, obviously. I don't know if you can tell by our old man voices, but we are very old.
I'm 55 years old, okay?
I'm 71.
We're ages with his son, Michael Douglas, who more people may be familiar with.
I'm familiar with Michael Douglas. He's
Hank
Ant-Man.
Yes, he's the original Ant-Man, yeah. So he was... Hard to be sad.
I've watched Marvel movies. Yeah.
Gosh, he's seen Marvel.
I'm a man of culture.
He is upped with pop culture, ladies and gentlemen, which is part of our podcast, so we allow it. But yeah, so Kirk Douglas died at the age of 103, very sad. The Oscars tonight, I imagine, will put a tribute out to him, but it won't be one of those tragic losses, like when someone dies young. It's one of those kind of just...
They'll probably show a montage of his classic roles.
Yeah, and everybody will say, I'm Spartacus, and it's the only one anyone knows. I tell you what, I bet more people have seen Kirk Douglas films than they have the contenders for Best Picture.
I've not seen a single one, not even Joker.
I know. So the Academy put out a tweet or something earlier today asking, I hope you've all seen our Best Picture nominees this year. And someone replied, have your Academy members seen all of them? Because it's like an ongoing joke that most of the time people that vote for Best Picture haven't seen most of them.
I'm familiar with the joke.
Yes. So it's kind of also a hollow Oscars this year because we pretty much know who's going to win. It's between like 3 films. Parasite, 1917, and maybe Ford v Ferrari.
I've heard of the other two. I've never heard of Ford v Ferrari.
And I suppose you're in Canada, so it would be called Ford v Ferrari there. In the UK, they named it Le Mans 66. It's about...
I've never heard of that either.
It's a famous race, and it happens every year, I think. But it was about Ford making a car that could beat Ferrari, and it's Matt Damon and Christian Bale, and truth be told, I never saw it. It was in cinema for a limited run here, I think, because nobody really wanted to see it, because all the trailers say Ford v Ferrari, and it came out in the UK under a different name, and everyone missed it because no one knew what it was called. I hate it when they do that, Kyle.
Avengers Assemble.
Avengers Assemble. Yes, that's another fun one.
What was it?
Neighbours, Bad Neighbours.
Dead Men Tell Salazar's Revenge.
Salazar's Revenge. What a shit title. It was a shit film, but at least Dead Men Tell No Tales was interesting and sinister. Well, I'll give you the best picture contenders, Kyle, right? So we can round them off. 1917, Ford v Ferrari, Joker, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite, The Irishman, Little Women, Jojo Rabbit, and Marriage Story. You've seen none of these.
I know Parasite's the foreign film, right?
Yes, it's the foreign film.
And it's notable for Best Picture to be a foreign film.
Usually, here's the thing, whenever a foreign film gets nominated for Best Picture, it really takes the wind out of its sails because there's also a category called Best Foreign Film. And could you imagine being nominated for Best Picture and then not winning Best Foreign Film? So it's the only foreign film nominated for Best Picture, so it better win Best Foreign Film category. What an upset that would be.
That would be very silly.
Yes, I think that happened with Roma last year or the year before. I can't remember when that film... I think it came out 2018, but in the calendar year of 2019 when the Oscars took place, it won Best Foreign Film, and it was nominated for Best Picture as well. Did it win Best Picture? I should know this. I don't think it did, but it got nominated for Best Picture, and then no one was shocked when it won Best Foreign Film, because of course it would. So this could be the same with Parasite, but people actually think Parasite might win this year, which really surprises me, because
people seem all up in arms about Parasite.
Full disclosure, I never saw it.
Full disclosure, I never saw it
right,
either.
Well, I'll tell you what I've seen. I've seen 1917 twice.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw Ford v Ferrari because of the different name and limited release, so it was out quickly before I got a chance to see it. Joker I saw about 5 times, and I hated it after the third.
I thought you liked Joker.
I love Joker, but I wanted to see something else, and people were like, "Let's go see Joker." I'm like, it's a good film.
You know, you don't have to say yes.
I don't want to miss out on the social experience. We were doing other things that day as well. I'm not going to say, "Okay, I'll see you in a couple of hours and meet up for dinner later." You know, enjoy the film. We were
that seems totally
acceptable. I tell you what I was supposed to see once. I was supposed to go see, I believe it was Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh boy.
No surprise, not nominated for Best Picture. And...
snubbed.
Yeah,
snubbed, I say.
No, yeah, snubbed. It really was quite a good film in reference to the Terminator franchise as a whole. You know, it's the best since T2. I know the bar isn't high, but I will defend...
that's not saying
I will
much.
defend every Terminator film apart from Genesis.
Genesis, the best title.
I think 3 is a solid B movie. It's very cheesy. Salvation is different because it's got no time travel in it, and it's like set in the future, and I think it was very bold, and it just kind of was a bit messy. And then Genesis was Genesis. It tried to turn them into like a Michael Bay Transformers billion-dollar blockbuster franchise, but Terminator never had been.
Are we almost through that period yet of everyone trying to make a cinematic universe?
It would be nice to think we're reaching the end of it, and I think if Marvel films start to take a downturn in box office, maybe we'll see the end of it. I should, because it's been a big ponder of it's been a big question of if maybe after Endgame Marvel kind of plateau now. Even if their TV stuff's great, their TV stuff could be amazing. I think their TV stuff will be great, and I think their films are going to be decent as well. I'm still actively excited for Black Widow, but people might think...
You think the hype train is dead?
A lot of people are. A lot of people are not. A lot of people have jumped out. People are thinking, right, okay, Endgame was that was peak. They built this up. Now we're having to start from ground zero again. When considering when it started, no one had cognitive brains. So we kind of bought into Iron Man without really thinking of it as a cinematic universe. But now when we watch Black Widow, no, I suppose Black Widow doesn't really count because it's pre-existing character. But when we start with new people and slowly build them up to have their version of Avengers Endgame in 2029, it'll feel kind of, they're not my characters. Bring back Iron Man and Captain America. Damn you, Feige.
I think you may be right that there'll be a plateau. I certainly don't think they're going anywhere.
I don't think they're going anywhere, but when people start to see that the hype isn't continually building, I think other studios will lose interest. Anyway,
well,
I need to finish telling you the best
Oh.
picture round off, Kyle. God.
Sorry, go on.
Parasite, which I haven't seen. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I saw once or twice. Very long film, very good film, but it's not got high rewatchability. It's a very one and done film. The Irishman, I've seen that once as well, but man, it's such a that's a high rewatch film. The Irishman is chef kiss, mwah, terrific piece of filmmaking.
We all know you're a big Martin Scorsese fan.
Oh, it's so good. Joe Pesci just steals the house. He should be getting an Academy Award. I can't remember if he's nominated. I have a list in front of me, but I can't be bothered to scroll through it. Little Women, which I also never saw because I'm a sexist pig.
Wow. Gosh.
Jojo Rabbit, fun film about Nazis. That was simply delightful. And frankly, I think it's my favourite film of 2019.
It's a comedy nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Normally they don't get nominated.
Right, well, the film's actually quite deep. There's comedy in it, obviously. Like, it's funny. It's a funny film. But there's a lot of drama in it as well. And it's very good film, and a lot of it's not in the trailers, which is quite good as well. But the trailer's completely accurate. It's not like a misleading trailer. And then Marriage Story, which is another Netflix film, which I'm going to watch tonight before the Oscars start. I haven't seen it yet, but I will watch it tonight because I've heard it's really good. Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson. Looks really good. I just haven't seen it yet.
I will watch none of them. Maybe I'll watch Joker at some point. Maybe. I'm sorry, man. I just... I don't know what it is. I just can't get into films.
Also, you don't like depressing films.
I don't like depressing things in general, but yeah.
Joker is undeniably a depressing piece of filmmaking. It's brilliant. It's technically mesmerising if you're into that thing. But if you do not want to watch a film where someone gets utterly destroyed by society, then gets turned into a psychopath because of that, it will be difficult. Good airtime there, Kyle. make sure people don't think their computer speakers are dead. So I would like to chime in with my predictions for this evening because, you know, by the time people hear this, they'll know if I'm right or wrong.
Yes. So what this is right now is a chance to embarrass yourself.
Yes. Well, I want to put my thoughts on the record. Because if I say it afterwards what my thoughts were, you've got no way of knowing if I'm lying. But if I tell you them now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
I can tell you my prediction based on what I know about the Oscars. I'm going to put my money on the war film.
So you think 1917 is going to win?
That's where I would put my bet.
I think it will too. But only because it performed very well at the Golden Globes. It performed very well at the BAFTAs. And the BAFTAs are the British Oscars, really, you know. So the BAFTAs have already been this year. Because I live in the UK, technically, the BAFTA should be a bigger deal for me. But the world just gravitates to the Academy Awards in the US more, so I naturally follow that like a sheep. But I've already had the BAFTAs this year, and the BAFTAs were an amazing event. Because, you know, it's a lot of British films get recognised in it, and 1917 is a British film. Sam Mendes directed it. He also directed the last two Bond films. They filmed part of it in Glasgow. At the old Govan Dockyards, Kyle. The old Govan Dockyards. They filmed part of 1917 there, so it's also helped my local economy.
Is it supposed to be the Govan Courtyards?
Dockyards. God.
Dockyards.
Courtyards. No, it's, so, do you know anything about 1917?
The year of the film?
The film.
Nothing.
Right, well, as you...
I assume it's a World War I picture.
Yes, World War I picture. But the thing about it is the entire film is done to look like it's in one shot.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah, no, but it's done really well. Like, no one's done, like, a one-shot war film before, and it's also very reminiscent of Dunkirk. And a lot of people think that Sam Mendes mimics Christopher Nolan.
Ripped off Dunkirk.
Well, no, a lot of people think that, a lot of people think that Sam Mendes mimics Christopher Nolan, so people aren't really surprised to see this film looks quite similar to Dunkirk. But it's completely different eras, of course, different wars, different even styles of filmmaking, being like Dunkirk's very kind of empty. Dunkirk's a very sparse film and very quiet a lot of the time. An absolutely brilliant film. I love Dunkirk to bits and pieces, but this film, it's like you start off outside a trench, you go into the trench, the camera doesn't really cut at all. There's some hidden cuts throughout the film, but you don't notice them unless you look for them. And, there's big actors in it, like cameos. Like in the trailers, you see Colin Firth, Benedict Cumberbatch, and all that, but they're only in it for like 2 minutes. They're just there to kind of be the person that gives orders to your main characters. You'll know one of them is Tommen Baratheon from Game of Thrones.
Nice.
And you've got to go through the trenches and deliver a message to a battalion that's about to do like an attack, but it's actually like a trap. So if they like go over the top, their entire legion will be wiped out or something. And you get there and you find the battalion, you stop the order, you stop the attack, or that's what they're supposed to be sent out to do. And it's brilliant, utterly and amazingly brilliant, despite the fact they film it all around the UK. So it really is a great piece of British filmmaking, but you would think, Christ, this is all like within the same 20-mile radius, but they film it in Glasgow, they film it in places down in England, they're all over the place. Terrific film. I think that is probably the front runner currently. So you're dead set just by, cultural osmosis, Kyle, at thinking the war film would win, because right now that seems to be the front runner. The complete upset would be Parasite, which has got some chatter last minute because of how well it performed at the BAFTAs and stuff.
I mean, I feel like the complete upset would be something like Joker.
Yeah, sorry, but I want to still be in the realm if it's possible. Sorry. Joker ain't winning, ladies and gentlemen. If it does, wow, I'll be shocked. I would love Jojo Rabbit to win. Like I say, I think Jojo Rabbit is my favourite film of the year, but it will not win. I don't think it's... I would vote for it, but I can just sense that won't win. Ford v Ferrari ain't going to win. I've not seen it, but no one's talking about it. The Irishman, when it came out, everyone thought, this is going to win. Nah, no one's talking about it anymore. So I don't think so. The steam ran out. I know everyone's already voted, so maybe when people did vote, they voted with it being in their minds, and it could. But I don't think it will. Marriage Story won't win. It's going to be 1917 or Parasite. They're my shots. Little Women could upset, I guess.
You don't sound too confident about
I don't, and rightfully so I don't, because I've got no thoughts in my head that it'll win. If it does, though, ladies and gentlemen, you remember when you listen to this, it'll already have happened, but picture me just being shocked if Parasite or 1917 don't win Best Picture.
I'll make sure to leave a pinned comment showcasing that you were very wrong.
Or incredibly right.
Well, no, I wanted that.
No, you're not going to say it. You're not going to tell people if I'm right. You're just going to tell people if I'm wrong.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks a bunch.
So, Marvel got some stuff, Marvel stuff. We mentioned Marvel earlier. You mentioned Marvel TV.
Mention Marvel TV.
You want to delve into that some more?
I would love to delve into Marvel TV some more, Kyle. I am so excited for Marvel TV. I didn't think I would be, apart from WandaVision, but now I'm excited for it all.
So, we still don't have proper trailers. We just got that Super Bowl one, right?
Yes, correct.
Which was a sort of combo trailer of 3 different shows.
4, kind of.
Was there a 4th in there?
Hold on, let me think. No, there was 3. Sorry. I was thinking of Loki, but I was thinking, what's the other one? No, there's just 3.
So the 3 shows, we already know that they're doing like at least 5 or 6. I can't remember all of them.
Yeah, there's like Ms. Marvel and all that, yeah, but we know there's 3 currently in active development.
Falcon, Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and Loki.
Yes. They literally just started Loki, by the way, so that clip that they showed, the Super Bowl trailer, they must have like filmed that before principal photography actually started, because they've just started.
I don't know, man. I don't know how production works. I just want to talk about nerd shit.
Nerd shit, right, sorry. Right, guys, this is the Pop Culture Podcast, not the Nathan Talks About Film Shooting Principles or Protocol. So, Kyle, what one of the three shows are you most excited for?
Easily WandaVision. I think that one looks the most interesting.
We are at agreement. WandaVision looks utterly just mesmerising. I think the WandaVision romance is the best romance in Marvel. I think it's done. It's not to say that romances are done particularly well in the MCU at all. I don't really think, but I think that in Infinity War, I totally bought their love story, as brief as it was. It's such a good moment where she takes the stone out of his head, or tries to destroy the stone in his head rather. I think it's great. And then Thanos turns back time in good Cher manner, and takes the stone out, and the shock in her, it's great. And then in the trailer, he's got the stone back. So I don't know if he actually is resurrected with it. Can Scarlet Witch make Infinity Stones? Is she that powerful?
Possibly. She can destroy them, so...
Yes, I don't have a problem with it if she can. Again, I love everything about both of these characters. It looks like they're filming in a sitcom manner.
It looks like they're shooting in a whole different ways.
Yes, well, so I watched a breakdown video because I'm too lazy to do the research myself, and it looks like it's apparently paying homage to a lot of different sitcoms. The black and white is supposed to be a homage to the Dick Van Dyke Show, Kyle. Then there's supposed to be homage to the Brady Bunch, Family Ties, I think. Another one that I can't remember the name of, and Roseanne, which is yikes, but you know. But it's all supposed to kind of look like it's filmed in front of a live studio audience. Probably a lot of it isn't actually filmed in front of a live studio audience, if any. But I think, because also there's a certain kind of acting you've got to do on a sitcom. You've kind of got to look like you're on a stage. You've got to overreact to things. And I think...
and you have to pause for the laughs.
Yeah, I think Elizabeth Olsen did that really well in the Super Bowl spot. Just don't know how she moves, when there's a bit in the trailer, it looks like she's listening in on something and it gets caught out and she kind of turns around in shock. But it's like an overreaction to being found out. It's not how you would react in reality or even in a film. But it's meant...
My main question is, and it's the reason I'm interested, is what the hell is happening on this show? I have no idea.
So I think it's all in her head. But I think she's a bit like The Matrix or... what's the Jim Carrey TV film?
The Truman Show?
Truman Show, thank you. And, she brings Vision back to life. She has kids in it. The kids were in the trailer. Well, sorry. 2 pacifiers to American audiences. There's a bit in the trailer for a quick second where the Vision and Wanda kind of react in a kind of shocked manner, like them giving a fright, and there's 2 kind of dummies floating in midair, and one of Wanda's kids in the comics, his powers is super speed, a bit like what's her brother's name who died in Age of Ultron, who didn't see that coming? Quicksilver. A bit like Quicksilver. So he gets his powers from his uncle, and the other one is kind of Scarlet Witchy powers. And I think one of them's gay as well. And I think in this their kids, there's also talk about maybe if Quicksilver will actually show up. I don't know if he'll be resurrected though, but I think they are resurrecting.
Well, if it's all in her head, then...
Mm-hmm. And people, but apparently, there was early rumours that said this show ends and goes right into Doctor Strange 2.
It's possible.
So because unlike Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or any of the Netflix stuff, they want this to be required viewing. If you do not watch these shows, you will start to find plot gaps in how things happen, in the films.
Gotta buy that Disney Plus subscription.
Disney Plus subscription. And I think it was really bold of whoever runs Disney Plus to ask Kevin Feige, hey, can you make shows for us that actually mean people need to buy the service? Because people don't need to buy the service for The Mandalorian or The Clone Wars. You do if you need to see it technically. But if you don't watch those shows, the rest of your intake of that media probably won't be affected too much.
Star Wars is such a different universe from Marvel.
Yes, no, it is completely. But if you don't watch these Marvel TV shows, you will actively have your experience of the films hindered from what I'm being able to gather. So I think Scarlet Witch is going to be amazing. I'm so interested. I'm so excited. It just looks good. From 30 seconds, and it only had half of those 30 seconds. But it looks great.
So the one coming first, though, is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which looks to me to be sort of Winter Soldier-esque. The movie, I mean.
Winter Soldier is my favourite MCU film. This is also the show I am least excited for.
I mean, I like Falcon well enough. I'm curious to see if he can lead a whole show, though.
I think they're both trying to balance it, and there's a bit in one of the comics, apparently, and it's actually part of the plot, where when Sam Wilson's supposed to become Captain America, he is denied it because they think the US is not ready for a black Captain America.
Oh.
So people think they might put this into this show to be all political to tell that story. And we know from leaked images and from the Super Bowl spot, you do see Captain America, but it's not Steve Rogers in this trailer, and he is a white boy.
I did notice that, yep.
I believe that character is US Agent, and apparently he's like just as strong or stronger than Steve Rogers, even though he isn't a super soldier, but he's also a bit of a villain.
I believe the correct description is he's Captain America, but a bit of a dick.
Yes, he's Captain America, but a bit of a dick. And I've got a feeling that he will be given the Captain America mantle, taken away from Sam Wilson. And Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes will have to take him down, and then...
And somehow Baron Zemo plays into this.
And he gets the pink or purple snooty, the balaclava. He has it. There was a leaked picture, and he was wearing it.
Does it look silly?
I mean, I didn't laugh.
It always looks... Whenever I see Baron Zemo's comic book appearance, I always laugh. He looks ridiculous.
Yes, well,
it's like a man with a bag over his head.
This actually looked like it was like a purple balaclava, but like a deep purple. I don't know if he's going to wear it for a great amount of the film. He might only wear it briefly. But you know what?
Film, TV show. Gosh.
God, sorry.
Although I assume they're doing the Picard thing where it's like it's just a 10-hour long movie.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that's...
Do we know if they're releasing it week by week or if they're doing it
week by week?
Okay.
The dumping everything all at once, I think, I bet even Netflix are going to stop doing it one day. It's not productive. It will be week on week.
We will not be talking about Picard. We're saving that for later.
Oh boy, we're saving that for later. And I don't know how many episodes Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to last for. I've got a feeling it's going to be quality television, but I know they're putting movie budgets behind it. Like there's a bit in the trailer where they're skydiving.
They don't make full season TV shows anymore. You know that. It'll be 10 or 12 episodes. I
know. So you can put more budget per episode. So yeah, then do you have anything more to say about Falcon and the Winter Soldier? I don't really.
I don't know. It's also the one I'm least excited for. I mean, both of those characters work as side pieces to Captain America. I just... Do they go together? I don't know.
They had some good comedy in Civil War, but I think that was because they were side pieces.
Exactly. They were like the two sidekicks conflicting over being two sidekicks.
I think they're going to try and make Sam Wilson fall into the new lead, and Bucky Barnes will remain the sidekick because of his lack of humanity.
That's my guess too. We'll wait and see. I have faith.
They're going to have their patience and friendship tested in this show, apparently, because they're still not in great terms. They're friends, but they're not. Their friendship was kind of glowed via Steve, but now Steve's gone. How are they going to cope?
They're work colleagues.
Yes. So, nothing more to say about that. What about Loki? He's going to burn this place to the ground, Kyle. What do you think of that?
Was he in like a prison uniform?
It's like a prison uniform for a temporal agency.
This is like the Loki who stole the Tesseract in the alternate timeline.
Yeah, so this is the Loki right after the Avengers in 2012. This isn't the one we see in Ragnarok or Infinity War briefly, or Thor: The Dark World.
So he needs to be redeemed again.
Maybe he might never be redeemed, because in that there's been speculation that Kid Loki or Lady Loki might show up in this.
That would be fun.
If you watch the Super Bowl spot, the Loki logo, there's actually two Loki logos. When it's Falcon the Winter Soldier, a couple of clips of that, One Division, couple of clips of that, and then it says Loki, and then there's that clip of Loki. when it says Loki, there's one Loki logo, and then it briefly changes to another Loki logo. And I think it's because they're saying there's going to be multiple Lokis, and there might be Kid Loki in this. And Kid Loki apparently is quite mischievous, and they really want to go for that God of Mischief thing that they never really went into in the other films.
They kind of got into it, but you mean they want to go on full trickster god?
Yeah.
He's tricking virgins into sleeping with sheep or whatever.
Totally. Totally. I don't know why you would
I-
go there, but yes, of course. God, Kyle, you're sick and twisted. Nah.
Those old gods, they were sick and twisted. What can I tell you?
Well, Marvel isn't.
Zeus once shagged someone as a goose.
Yes, well, I can tell you that Marvel and Kevin Feige aren't, and neither is Disney. So apparently, in the jumpsuit he's in, it's some sort of temporal agency's prison suit. And apparently, when you work for these people, you work for them for life. Like if you join, you can't get out. I can't remember their name. That's really embarrassing.
He's on the USS. Fuck, I forgot the name.
I don't know what you're on about.
It's Voyager, the USS
Relativity.
The time ship. The USS Relativity. God, we're gonna cut that. I'm gonna cut it so it sounds like I said it properly.
You better. It's the Time Variance Authority. The Time Variance Authority, Kyle. That's what's in the jumpsuit. It's TVA is what's on his jumpsuit. And if you work for them, you work with them for life. But he looks like he's in a jumpsuit, so he's been caught. Maybe they'd release him to do some freelance work for them, but he isn't really trusted.
Somehow, I doubt Loki's going to stick there.
Yes, I doubt that too.
That's definitely the most, the least we know about it. I guess we'll wait. I still find it crazy they didn't have one of these shows on Disney Plus at launch.
I think they wanted Disney Plus out for tax or boost reasons. I think it was very much a financial decision to release it when it did, because it had nothing. Sorry, The Mandalorian.
I mean, it had the Disney Archive, which is something.
Yeah, but I'm not buying it for the Disney Archive. I'm buying it for the new content.
Hashtag content.
Exactly.
We've never talked about The Mandalorian. Gets that. We've also got a trailer for Morbius.
Oh, we did. We did
Never
get a trailer
talked
for
about
Morbius.
that.
So, Kyle, what do you think of Morbius?
I can't believe they got Sam Raimi to come back, and that Tobey Maguire is going to appear as Spider-Man. It's crazy.
Good grief. He isn't. He just isn't going to be back. Like, I mean, sorry.
Ever.
Because you're getting
He's never going to be back.
You're getting the Doctor Strange story and the Morbius story mixed up.
Doesn't matter.
So
They're both dumb.
So there's talks that Sam Raimi might direct Doctor Strange 2. I think that's a great choice. However, everyone seems to think that means because it's to do with the multiverse, that means they'll bring Tobey Maguire Spider-Man into it. The Spider-Man deal is already on thin ice as it is. It's going to end at some point. It just is, unless they re-sign, but currently it hasn't been, so they've got a slight extension. It's like Brexit. They're not going to do anything, and Spider-Man's going to leave again. They're not going to bring in a second Spider-Man into the MCU proper. If Tobey Maguire ever does show up again, he will show up in like a Sony-owned property like Morbius. He has more chance of being in Morbius than he does showing up in Spider-Man, in Doctor Strange 2, rather. Just because the director of the Sam Raimi trilogy, Sam Raimi, might be directing Doctor Strange 2, doesn't mean Tobey Maguire's going to be in it. And there's so many clickbait articles that send me through the roof, because I know they're lying, but I have to comment on it because people believe this stuff, Kyle.
You're never going to stop clickbait. That's an impossible task.
It breaks my heart, Kyle. Fucking journalists. They just want the clicks.
But on the Morbius thing, you were all up in the chat about this Tobey Maguire stuff.
Right, here's the thing. The short answer is no, I don't think Tobey Maguire is going to be in the film. Slightly more complex answer. I think it is not out of the realm of possibility that in the not too distant future we might have a Spider-Man movie that involves like an older Spider-Man. I don't mean necessarily Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, but I just mean like an older version of the character Peter Parker. But like into the Spider-Verse.
A live-action Spider-Verse.
Yes,
yeah.
because Sony have wanted to do their Spider-Verse for years. That's what kind of killed Spider-Man 3. They forced Venom into the... Sam Raimi didn't want to do Venom. He didn't want Venom in the film. but they forced Venom into the film. Now, I was the right age for Spider-Man 3. I get a kick out of it from nostalgia reasons. I like all 3 Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. And then so after that failed, they rebooted with Andrew Garfield. And then they did a lot of forcing Sinister Six stuff into that film. In The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That killed that. See, if they never done that, there's a very big chance that when they integrated Spider-Man into the MCU, they could have kept Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield could be the Spider-Man that we've currently got.
But then we wouldn't have my favourite Spider-Man.
Tom Holland's great, but if they hadn't messed up the Amazing Spider-Man 2, it would probably still be Andrew Garfield in the role.
That would be very weird.
It's weird thinking about it now because of how much the world has spun around with this idea of it being Tom Holland, but I think there were good reasons for Andrew Garfield staying. I don't think that we've ever had a bad Spider-Man. I think we've had bad Spider-Man films. I don't think we've ever had a bad Spider-Man. So I do think that because they've been trying to do this for so long, the idea of the multiverse thing, because Sony have wanted to do this multiverse thing a lot longer than the MCU have really seriously considered it. They never really considered it until 2016, but Sony wanted to do it for a long time. So we've got Spider-Verse, best Spider-Man film ever made. Such a good film. If nobody has seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, get it sorted. Great film. But just how... But, like, for instance, there are calls for them to make, like, a Michael Keaton Batman film again. They want him to make, like, the old man Batman film.
Of course. Yep.
And you know what? I'm not against it. I'm just not. I think the concept's too interesting to turn down. And I know DC do like doing the Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff and the different Earths on TV, but I think on film it's too much of a risk, especially because they're doing the Pat Pattinson film. The Robert Pattinson. So that won't happen. However, Sony bringing back Tobey Maguire, it's currently, I'm not saying it's happening in Morbius or it's happening in... It's definitely not happening in Doctor Strange 2. If it happens in Doctor Strange 2, I will be... Honestly, it'll be the biggest upset of the last 10 years in film for me. I just won't have seen it coming. I will be so shocked if Tobey Maguire shows up. It's just not going to happen. But I think at some point Tobey Maguire returning in the not too distant future, like before 2030, into the Spider-Man role, into a film of the same, crop as a Morbius film. I don't think that's necessarily out of the question.
Why would he show up in Morbius, really?
Because his suit is in the film.
Is it though?
I mean, technically it's a screenshot taken from the PS4 game, but it is. And then there was like a leaked picture of a bus that says "Where's Spider-Man" on it. And Matt Smith and Jared Leto were on set at the same place. And it was like the bus was apparently a film set, so not like someone hasn't rolled it in, like it's meant for the film. So Spider-Man definitely exists in the universe of Morbius, and I think maybe even in the same universe as Venom.
Well,
but whether it's Tom Holland or not is a different story. And I think that when this...
It's obviously Tom Holland.
Yes, because when...
Michael Keaton shows up at the end.
Yes, well, exactly. When this Spider-Man... Because Spider-Man has 2 more MCU obligations. He's 1 more obligation in a film of his own, and 1 more obligation in, like, another MCU movie where he can show up, like an Avengers-style film where he can be in it. They're the only 2 obligations that Spider-Man currently has in the MCU. After that, either they re-sign a deal or that's it done. And I think it probably will be done. But after that, Tom Holland's deal isn't with Disney, it's with Sony. So they can keep bringing him back into their own Sonyverse. And it can be like a pseudo shoot-off of the MCU, but it doesn't really have to register the MCU, except when it wants to. And I see when they announced this deal back in 2016 with him showing up in Civil War, this is my worst fear come true. The MCU is nice and neat. I know it didn't exactly treat the TV or Netflix shows with much respect, but the films, and now I suspect Disney Plus shows, they're very neat, and you can see the 4 walls and the ceiling and the floor that you're working in, and nothing leaks. But Sony have wedged a door out of nowhere, and now you can seep out MCU things. For instance, anything Michael Keaton does in Morbius, if he ever shows up in a MCU proper film again, they don't need to reference what happened in Morbius if they don't want to, but you can bet that...
It's of questionable canon, like Star Wars Legends.
Yes, any of the Sony films are questionable canon. Did it happen? A bit like the Marvel Netflix, did it happen? Doesn't really matter. Unless, like... You know, like unless they
do we need to know about Skippy the Force Droid?
No, we don't. Jeez, we're not going to Skippy the droid. Fuck Skippy the droid. And they really want their. I can't get over this enough. They want their Sinister Six film. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing. I think Spider-Man has the best rogues gallery next to Batman. I think he's that good. No one cares about Captain America or Iron Man's rogues gallery, really. You know Spider-Man's villains, and you know Batman's villains, and you maybe kind of know Superman villains. That's about it. You know?
Superman has like 3 villains you probably know.
Yeah, I could probably only name 2.
Regardless, Sinister Six.
I'd love it. I would absolutely love it. But they need to do it slowly, and I think they're finally getting to grips with that, but I wonder how much of that is their own smarts, and how much of that is Kevin Feige really taming them in because he doesn't want anyone going crazy when it comes to an MCU proper film.
You basically need to build up a Sinister Six film like a reverse Avengers.
Yeah, you do. That's why you don't kill off Michael Keaton. That's why I don't believe Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio's dead. Venom will show up. Now they've got Morbius. I really want them to do Doc Ock. I know they done him in Spider-Man 2, but I'd love the character of Doc Ock, and why not do it again? Or where's the Green Goblin? There was supposed to be an Oscorp reference in Far From Home that they cut out last second, but, you know, where's the Green Goblin?
The problem is Green Goblin has associations with Amazing Spider-Man 2 now.
I still associate him with Sam Raimi films. I know people talk about Harry Osborn's New Goblin, but William Dafoe...
Avenge me!
William Dafoe could totally come back and do it like they brought back J. Jonah Jameson.
I would be so on board if they brought back Willem Dafoe.
How great would it be? They changed the uniform entirely because the Green Goblin outfit from that first Spider-Man film was not aged well at all. But I could just bring back Willem Dafoe, give him a really good suit. And I'd love it. Him and Michael Keaton together on screen, Vulture and Green Goblin. I know Vulture was kind of always B-list, I won't lie, but Michael Keaton really brought him up. But so was for a long time, Iron Man was pretty laughable.
My favourite thing is to point out Vulture's comic book outfit. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's like
he's like an old man with like a fur coat and actual just bird wings on his arms.
To me,
he looks ridiculous.
I thought it was like a One Piece spandex. Always reminded me of the first season of The Next Generation.
It's also a One Piece spandex, lime green.
Yes, yeah, it always reminded me of the Star Trek uniforms from the first couple of seasons of TNG.
It's ridiculous. And in the movies, he's just like, he's a cool guy with metal wings and a leather coat.
It's great. I think the metal wings are the one thing that would question if Doc Ock will show up, because that's kind of two similar metal backpacks.
It's similar, yeah.
The guy Scorpion was in Homecoming briefly. He's the guy who meets in prison at the end.
He was.
I don't know if they'll do anything with that at first.
You think they'll give him his big metal scorpion tail?
Well, I mean, it's a known actor, and I think they want to build him up. But then maybe Sony changes course. Maybe he'll show up like in the Sinister Six movie when they make it, and he won't get a film of his own where he's the main villain.
The thing with the Sinister Six is basically every Spider-Man villain has been in it at some point.
Yes, it's been a while. I think Morbius has only been in it once, but he was in it when there was like 12 people in it. He was in it when
the Sinister Six squares.
Yeah, he was in it when they were maxing out like out all the villains. He's never been in the core group. But I think it's like, isn't Ant-Man supposed to be one of the founders of the Avengers in the comics?
Yes, he is.
He isn't in it until they max it out. So I think that's kind of what they're going to do with Morbius. And see, I think, I don't mean to shit on the character of Morbius, right? But no one fucking knows who Morbius is, right? The living vampire.
No, it's true. I didn't know who it was until I saw the trailer.
Yeah, right. I was vaguely aware, but I was aware through Blade, and this ain't Wesley Snipes. So I think that you need that Sonyverse, Spider-Verse connection to give you an interest, even if they're being very low-key about it right now. Because I think if you don't associate this as being an MCU proper film, as most people don't, Michael Keaton showing up will mean nothing to you. Unless you're in the film fandom and you're kind of aware of the question mark. Here's my concern,
is like, I watched most of the Marvel movies with my parents.
Yes.
And now I have to explain for all of these Sony films, like, look, it's made by Sony, there's this whole licensing deal, so anything that happens here is of questionable continuity, and it's a whole fucking deal that I have to explain now.
Yes, like anything that happens with Spider-Man in these films, from Sony's point of view, totally happened. But
don't expect it to show up in the MCU.
Yes.
Because it probably won't.
But I mean that also and vice versa. Like, I think that, like, what happened to Iron Man and Captain America, that doesn't matter in the Sonyverse films. But Spider-Man getting the shit kicked out of him in one will. Like, what happened in Far From Home, I think it might count. And I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if maybe the look of Spider-Man is MCU regulated. So when he leaves the MCU into Sonyverse proper, when the deal,
he has a different suit,
completely different suit, and they reference how he made it off screen at some point, but you never see the old one in like hanging up in a wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
He's still got his Infinity War suit in like a case. So where's that gonna go? You know, you can't hide that.
He'll just switch back to his original suit.
He's gonna switch back to his Sam Raimi suit, Kyle.
Oh boy.
Maybe
we haven't talked about the actual content of Morbius at all.
Maybe Tom Holland is playing Tobey Maguire.
It's like Mission Impossible. He takes off the mask.
That's exactly what they're doing, Kyle. That's exactly what they're doing. He says, "Hi, I'm Spider-Man, and I'm in love with Mary Jane Watson," and it's what's her face from the Sam Raimi films, who was also in an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation as a child.
Wow, what a connection!
I can't let it go. So yes, Morbius. What do you think of the trailer overall?
He's like a reverse Batman.
Man-Bat? I think that is a DC character.
It is a DC character. It's a vampire bat, so he's also kind of a vampire, but he's like a science vampire.
Yes. But I got Doctor Strange vibes, where you know how like he breaks his hands and he does everything he can to fix himself, and then he has to like seek out magic to fix it.
I didn't make that connection, but that is quite similar.
It's incredibly similar. He does everything he can. Now he's like using bat magic, though it looks like he built some kind of science contraption at the entrance of the cave that I've got a feeling.
I don't know if they're going down a sort of Jekyll and Hyde route with it.
Possible. I think that machine that he built is to like keep him alive, and like his helicopter pilot and everything's going to die horribly.
I also can't tell if this is a film about a villain or a film about an anti-hero.
I know Morbius is an anti-hero because he's been a villain of Spider-Man at one point, but I think they're going to treat it very much like Venom. I think Venom technically an anti-hero, but when you watch Venom the film, I think you could be fooled.
I really don't have much to say about it. It didn't leave much effect on me.
We haven't spoken about the trailer yet. What do you think about the trailer? Not much, just that it might tie into Spider-Man proper.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
I tell you what, it is true that the biggest intrigues are how it ties into Spider-Man. That's the only thing that
it looks like it might be a better performance than Suicide Squad.
I get a guilty pleasure kick out of him in Suicide Squad. I think he's an okay Joker. You want to talk about Suicide Squad because Birds of Prey just came out?
It's not sexy enough. God. Have you heard?
It's not enough sex appeal, Kyle. To jump into Spider-Man once more, get me pictures of Spider-Man dressed up as Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie as Spider-Man, that would be something.
Wow. Spider-Gwen. She'd be a great Spider-Gwen. See, Kyle, we're building the universe. Sony, you know how to contact
Would
me.
she be a great Spider-Gwen?
Yeah, totally. Bit old, but it was Tobey Maguire, you know. We had Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man 3, but she didn't do anything. We recast. And who was our dad in Spider-Man 3? James Cromwell. Zephyr Cochrane from Star Trek First Contact. Oh yeah.
Stop! You have to stop!
I got a kick out of this. I love this show.
You want to talk about The Mandalorian?
Sure, why not? Let's talk about Disney Plus exclusive, the first live-action Star Wars show, The Mandalorian.
I liked it.
He liked it, ladies and gentlemen. He liked it. Now, what did Nathan think of it? I liked it.
Nathan liked it, ladies and gentlemen.
It was...
Okay, moving on to our next topic.
No, you know what? It was pleasantly surprising for the first episode and for the 2 last episodes. And then when
You didn't like the middle episode of the week episodes?
all episodes were good, and I think more TV shows need bottle episodes. But too many times did something happen where I thought, they've clearly set up a serialized story here, but they've just kind of forgot about it. Like, Mandalorian has this baby Yoda, and he's just going off doing other stuff. There was an episode in the desert when he goes into Tatooine, and there's Melinda May is there.
Uh-huh.
In that episode, just nothing happened.
That's probably the weakest episode.
It was
for
a
me.
waste of time. It literally was a waste of time.
It was enjoyable. I don't think it was a waste of time.
Someone shows up at the end of the episode to maybe bring her back to life. People think it's...
I assume that's Moff Gideon.
People said it was Boba Fett, and I was like, what are you fucking kidding me? It's not Boba Fett.
Of course.
It's not Boba Fett.
It's always Boba Fett. Everything in Star Wars is Boba Fett.
I know, God. Maybe it's Jango Fett. That would be an upset.
Headless Jango Fett. He has a holographic head. No, he has a droid head.
C-3PO's head. The original.
He has a battle droid head.
God. So, do you have any thoughts of the mid-season of Mandalorian?
I mean, I liked all of the episodes. Like you, I had the privilege of you guys, you and a friend of the show, Harris.
Is he a friend of the show?
Week on week. I'd probably not. I don't think he listens. Friend Harris.
Yes.
You guys watched it week on week. I waited and just binge watched it all.
Yes, you did. That's true. I hate it when you do it, Kyle, because you're one person out of the conversation. There's a whole reason shows do it week on week. It builds the anticipation and the speculation. Binging is great fun.
I'm making an effort to do it with Picard for you, okay?
And I appreciate you all the more for it.
But yeah, so with watching all at once, I can just blaze through all the episodic ones.
Yeah.
It doesn't really... There isn't that building feeling of nothing's happening.
Yeah,
So-
when you're watching week on week and there's in a week where nothing happens, it does feel like a waste of time. At least they're only like 35 minutes long.
Yeah. Well, they weirdly vary quite a bit in length.
Yeah, but none
which is
ever
odd.
reached like an hour. I think 50 minutes was as high as they went for the end of the season.
And that's just because they included that extended Stormtrooper sequence.
Yes, yeah. A lot of it feels quite tricksy, you know. How much here is just to fill up a runtime. It was good. I liked the Stormtrooper scene though. It was quite good. Apparently there are 2 comedians that Americans know. You know, UK doesn't translate. But, you know, it was a good scene.
All I got from that scene was it was
blue.
Red versus Blue.
Yeah. Someone took the dialogue from Red versus Blue and put it over it. And it worked. It was quite well. It had been recut because obviously they don't talk at the exact same times, but
Sure.
but they had the cut quite well, so you didn't really know you were watching the exact same scene again. But the dialogue obviously continued, so it tricked you quite well. It was good. I enjoyed it.
I feel like I'm forgetting one of the week on week episodic ones.
There's the one where he rides into town and saves them from a big AT-AT.
See, that one fell in line though. That one isn't quite as episodic to me because that was him trying to find a place to hide the baby.
Yeah, there's one where he goes onto a New Republic prison ship and kills the voice actor of Anakin Skywalker.
Is that the voice actor of Anakin Skywalker?
From the Clone Wars, it is.
The-
New Republic
He
prison.
doesn't kill him.
He doesn't. Sorry,
The lady from Game of Thrones kills him.
oh yeah, she is from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, she's the wildling lady.
Yeah, she is. Shit. You know that. You know more than I do.
Clancy Brown's
Clancy
there.
Brown's there, another friend of Star Trek. And you know, I enjoyed that episode. You know, that was fun. That was a fun ep. I enjoyed being on the.
That was my favourite of the episodic ones.
Yes, that was
definitely.
also my favourite of the episodic ones too. And you know, he's hunting around. The music was great. What was the
Yeah.
the episode where the Jawas dismantle the ship and he goes and kills a big rhino?
Oh, that was episode 2.
Yes, that was when I got worried about the show because the only thing that episode did was establish that Baby Yoda can use the Force, and
Yeah.
I felt like you spent half an hour to give us 2 minutes. The entire
Well, also, it was more bonding time with the Ugnaught guy.
Gary Busey.
McNulty.
Oh no, yeah, it was Nick Nolte. Sorry, why am I saying Gary Busey? What did Gary Busey do?
It's just a similar name.
It's a similar name, apparently. I don't know. I think I saw something to do with Gary Busey recently and was like, he's the Ugnaught from Mandalorian, right? Nope.
I'm trying my best not to spoil things here, but
The show's out. God.
yeah. I mean, the thing about it is it's like spoiling an episode of TNG. It's like, does it matter really if you know the plot of one of these bottle episodes?
Not really. He just rides into town and gets a bounty. And the Apollo.
I liked it. It was very
there.
Not that I've watched the old spaghetti westerns, but I assume that it's similar to the old Clint Eastwood westerns.
It's very similar to westerns and old samurai films. See the idea of like someone riding into town and saving the village people. That's like a samurai thing before it was a cowboy. The spaghetti westerns take a lot from samurai films and martial arts films, and then obviously we all attribute them to cowboy films because it's Hollywood. But it's a thing from the East originally.
It was nice to have Star Wars that felt new
And
you know what I mean?
and good.
And good.
Yeah. Yeah, you're true. You're not wrong. I enjoyed it. However, I don't know what the hell's going to happen in season 2. Because
that's good though.
No, I know. I'll tell you why I'm worried. I feel like the bad guy was more interesting than the hero.
You think?
Moff Gideon with the darksaber.
I like Mando.
Yeah, I know. I don't dislike Mando, but Moff Gideon with the darksaber is more interesting to me and how he got it than the Mandalorian. The Night of 1,000 Tears. That they ain't going to show that in Mandalorian, I don't think, because that to me that seems like it's going to be high budget, on par with the visuals we're going to see of the Siege of Mandalore, because he clearly kills everyone and gets it off Bo-Katan, who I think Bo-Katan might show up in this show if she's not already dead, because he had to kill her or steal it from her.
I feel like she's important enough that they wouldn't kill her off screen.
Maybe she dies in the Clone Wars. No, she's in Rebels. Sorry, she can't.
That's how she gets the darksaber.
Gosh, Nathan, just fucking watch the show.
See, somehow I think Sabine has to end up with a darksaber.
But we know Sabine doesn't have it after Return of the Jedi.
Sure, but this is also set after Return of the Jedi. I mean, like, at some point in this timeline,
you think
Sabine ends up with a darksaber.
Sabine will show up in the show and get it?
I don't rule out Sabine showing up in this show.
Do you think she's going to be the new Mandalorian? The head of Mandalore?
I think I only recently finished Rebels.
Yeah. And
I think they were very clearly setting that up as something that would happen eventually.
I'm curious to see what the sequel to Rebels is going to be, because it's going to be Ahsoka and Sabine. But Resistance didn't work at all. No one watched that show.
I'll try it one day for lols.
It's only 2 seasons. I think I watched all season 1. I haven't seen any of season 2.
Just the art style, man.
Yeah.
It's so weird looking.
Yeah, it's too kiddie. Too kiddie.
Nothing has heavy lines. Everything is so soft, even softer than Rebels.
I would have preferred old 2D Looney Tunes and Scooby Doo. But no, you know what? I think Mandalorian season 2 has definitely got the attention of people, which is more than I can say about the first season, because I don't think most people cared.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. Sorry, but I mean the marketing campaign. I think the trailers were just boring. I so didn't care.
I was mild. I'm trying to think now, because like we mentioned in the last episode, not the last episode, but our Rise of Skywalker review, that's what re-sparked my Star Wars enjoyment, even though I didn't like it. My passion for Star Wars, that's the language I used.
Yes, I remember in a Rise of Skywalker review. Special.
Far too long. I need to get better at editing.
But I think that the trailers were quite boring, and I was interested for the show because the premise of a live action Star Wars show is inherently interesting to me because of what I'm into. But I just didn't think the trailers were at all really compelling. But no, it won me over.
I'm so sick of hearing that line. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. It's all over the marketing. They use it in every single trailer.
However, I'll say this: sometimes that phrase pops into my head for no reason. I could be like about to submit an assignment for like my studies, and
Werner Herzog just pops up in your head.
It's a bounty hunt. It's complicated refreshing. I could be out for dinner with friends, and they're about bringing the food over. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Like, wow, is it really? Thanks, Werner. God, didn't know that. It's strangely stuck in my head, I think, because of how much it was in the trailers. But he's dead now. Moff Gideon killed him.
Yes, rip.
For a second, I thought Moff Gideon was someone we were supposed to know previously when he shows up in the blue hologram just before he kills Werner Herzog.
No, he's new.
No, I know he's new. He is new, but before he showed up actually, and it was just a little blue man on a hologram, I thought for a second it was someone we're supposed to know. And I was like, wait, is that Grand Admiral Thrawn?
Is that Admiral Yularen?
He's died on the Death Star, Kale.
Oh, rip.
Wolf
He will
Yularen.
not be missed.
He became a colonel, I believe, in the Empire.
He was a man who did the narration. He has a cool voice.
Yeah, he was like a 50s news bulletin. War!
The evil separatists advance on the planet of Ryloth.
You got those cool quotes at the start of the Clone Wars. I'm so excited for the Clone Wars Season 7. Coming next month. Or this month. This month, Kale!
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be week on week. Because Clone Wars has been out now for so long, or what we know to be the Clone Wars, remembering back, because that was a week on week release too, because it was on Cartoon Network.
Yep.
I can't remember really what that was like. I remember.
Well, we were talking about it, and it's like there's all these scenes. It's like I don't remember that happening, because I showed you a clip of Darth Maul killing the Hutts. And you were like, I don't remember this ever happening.
Yeah, I've watched Clone Wars cover to cover, and I could swear it still happens to this day. I'll see a clip, and I'm like, I don't remember this. I don't remember this happening. Have I seen this show?
It is mighty odd. It's just because so much happens in that show. It's such a jam-packed show.
Yeah, and it was out of order at first as well. They didn't get chronological until season 3, I think.
I don't know why they did that.
Because they wanted it to be like news stories or just popping in and out, They could have done that chronologically, but I don't know why they went it out.
They realised that was silly around season 3.
Yeah. Thank God. I wonder if that was George Lucas's decision or Dave Filoni's decision.
The out of order thing sounds like a George Lucas thing to me.
No, I think that was his decision, but to stop it, I wonder whose decision that was.
Who knows?
Because this is the
know.
thing. A lot of people are branding this the finishing of the Clone Wars. It's like the completion of George's story, because George had nothing to do with Rebels. He had nothing to do with any of the Disney era Star Wars stuff, but he was heavily involved in the Clone Wars. Now I don't know how much involvement he's going to have in season 7. I think he actually might have,
none.
But I think he might have a credit somewhere, like as the executive producer or something. Purely because the intellectual property that is Star Wars: The Clone Wars is something he'd done a lot of it as it was TV. I know films he isn't exactly credited in the Disney era Star Wars films, but I feel just TV. I feel it's going to be different. I think he might get a credit. Not that he's actually going to have had anything to do with it, but some of the stuff is from the show before it got cancelled. So he may get a credit somewhere, and people are saying this is the completion of George Lucas' story. This is what he always intended Star Wars: The Clone Wars to be, and it's going to finish, and it's going to be great.
I don't know, man. Aren't they trying to... I know there was that very good picture of George Lucas with Baby Yoda, but I feel like they're trying to separate themselves from Mr. Lucas. Or no, I thought he was sick of Star Wars and he wanted no involvement.
No, he's really pissed off with this, and he thinks they've ruined Star Wars.
He's the one who sold it to them.
Yeah, but he had a bunch of ideas, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, we'll listen to your ideas, George," and then didn't.
Well, that's because they've watched the prequels.
Also, they didn't muscle him out. He retired. But I think George Lucas is a great ideas man. He's like Dr. Evil. He's an ideas evil genius. I mean, he's clearly a smart man. He made all with the merchandising rights. He's very rich. He knows what clicks. You think he knows roughly what the Clone Wars era. I think we agree is some of the best in Star Wars. The general concept of it is all him. Just the details are where he
Yeah, he's not a good filmmaker.
Yeah, I think he's a good story, man. You know, like everyone knows famously that Star Wars, the original film, Star Wars, is like a mess, and they saved it in the editing process. I think it was his wife that saved that film, I believe. And he didn't direct Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. By the time the prequels came along, he was #1 man for everything, and no one would challenge him. Everyone just clapped because he was the one paying their paychecks.
Good old behind the scenes footage.
Yeah, man, I love George Lucas. I know. He's
I can tell.
Complicated man, but I think he's a true visionary.
He's a complicated profession.
That's what that line was. I think Werner Herzog was talking about George Lucas. Or it was Jon Favreau.
George Lucas is a complicated man.
Being George Lucas is a complicated profession.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not. I think someone asked him at some point. They asked, "So what do you do now, George?" He goes, "Oh, I still make films. I've retired, and they're just little films for me and my family. I don't release them." So I wonder if
you're doing more of a Jordan Peterson.
Shit. Cut that whole thing out.
It's very similar.
Very similar.
It's there's also crossover with Kermit.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Kermit the Frog here. Yeah, true. No,
but that's a good Kermit. You do a good Kermit.
Thank you. I'm known as the voice man. No, so I think that probably he still does bits and pieces, and I know he gets invited to every single thing that Star Wars ever does because of course he does his George Lucas. He gets a front row seat, invited to everything.
His name is still on every one of the films. So
yeah, stories. You know, it's not like in Star Trek where they say, you know, based on Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry. They don't go based on Star Wars by George Lucas.
Well, it does pop up Lucasfilm though.
It's true, but that's just because that's the company. They're not going to name it Kennedy Film, are they?
It's his name. That's what I'm saying.
He's an egomaniac, Kyle. I'm surprised he never called the first Star Wars film George Lucas: A Star Wars Story.
That's what they're working on right now. Do we have any idea what they're doing with the Star Wars films now?
Yeah, I feel like I've said this in our Rise of Skywalker review. Maybe I didn't. I've said it to enough people in my personal life.
I know you've been talking about the Old Republic films.
Yeah, well,
I don't know how true those are.
We know there's rumours about the High Republic, not the Old Republic. And we've got 3 dates of 2022, 2024 and 2026. Apparently this week they were supposed to announce who the director is. They didn't. But I don't know if all three of the, because we know nothing apart from dates.
Well,
we don't know if they're going to be
Kathleen
connected.
Kennedy announced that a Star Wars film would have a female director at some point.
She said that at the BAFTAs when they asked her, but she'd said that years. She said that years ago as well. I don't really think it's important. I think they probably don't think it's incredibly important either, and they just say it because, you know, PR.
And then they get a bunch of headlines about
Deborah Chow. She directed a lot of the she directed a bunch of The Mandalorian, and she's the showrunner, I believe, of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi drama.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So see when they brought fucking Ewan McGregor out on stage, and they were like, she was like, we've got scripts written. I think she either said all the scripts or we've got scripts written. I can't remember. And then apparently we found out they only had 2 scripts written recently when they're ready to shoot. And she didn't like them, so they're scrapped and they've got a new writer. And so, you know, Ewan McGregor was asked and he says, everything's fine, don't worry about it. And I was like, I wonder.
I don't believe you, Mr. McGregor.
I don't believe Mr. McGregor. You're a wonderful Obi-Wan Kenobi and you're probably a great guy. But you just, you know, I don't believe you, sir. And, you know, all the crewmen, like a ship, all the crew,
like a starship.
So you're on some kind of Star Trek. So I think that they've all been let go. Apparently, they've been released from their contracts told to seek other work because we ain't fucking paying you. We've got nothing to do, and now we're thinking it's not even going to maybe shoot until later this year, even though it was supposed to be shooting right now, and we're not even going to get it to maybe late 2021.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so they're rewriting the whole thing again, apparently. Maybe it's the same premise and they're just rewriting the dialogue. Or maybe they're wiping the entire premise and starting anew. He grew the hair, Kyle. He had the beard. Now he's still got the hair, I think, but he's shaved the beard. Because he's like, well, we're not filming this for a while. I can get rid of it.
he at some point has to grow into the guy,
Alec Guinness.
the actor man, Alec Guinness. He needs to grow into Alec Guinness.
They ain't gonna do that.
You don't think they're gonna Grand Moff Tarkin Alec Guinness?
No, I don't actually. I don't think they will, because there was specific reasons they were able to do that for Grand Moff Tarkin. They had a full face cast of Peter Cushing, like of him when he was alive, and that held up, and they were able to scan all the interiors of that very in depth. The closest you can maybe get is like either, because he's dead, you can maybe get a young Carrie Fisher look.
The young Carrie Fisher in Rise of Skywalker looked okay. Young Carrie Fisher in
I was thinking Rogue One.
Rogue One, not so great.
I was thinking Rogue One. But it's. I don't think we're going to see any of Alec Guinness. They keep using his voice ghostly in the films,
They do.
And they've got Ewan McGregor. Clearly, Ewan McGregor's up for it. I don't think Ewan McGregor's going to just say fuck this and leave.
No.
But I do tend to think that this Kathleen Kennedy, I don't think is a good overseer. Handpicked by George Lucas, and everyone, including like people like Steven Spielberg, say she's an absolutely phenomenal producer. I think there's probably a big part of that that's true. She probably is a great producer, but she isn't a Kevin Feige, where he can be a producer, but as well as being a producer, he can be like a grand overseer on the chessboard and decide what he's going to do. I don't think Kathleen Kennedy can do that. I think she's probably very good on a film-by-film basis, but she isn't somebody to manage the chessboard, and I think that's maybe where things are going wrong, because she's had too much drama, frankly, with the original directors of Solo, massive reshoots. Apparently Gareth Edwards wasn't really happy because they got another director to basically refilm a lot of Rogue One. Remember those massive Rogue One reshoots?
The fact that their entire sequel trilogy didn't have a plan.
Didn't have a plan, yes, that's also primarily, I think, her and J.J. Abrams are fault for that. And then, obviously, Solo. God, Solo was... They've done a lot of reshoots on Solo because they kicked out the directors and brought in Ron Howard. Colin Trevorrow was supposed to do The Rise of Skywalker, then he left over creative differences, though apparently he's quite good friends with the Kathleen household, so that's interesting. There's too much drama. Ironically, the film with the least behind-the-scenes drama was The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, despite them having the most fandom drama.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. So I tend to think maybe they need to get someone like a Jon Favreau or a Dave Filoni in to be like a chessboard man. Keep her on board to do film by film producing. I have no doubt she's very good at that. She's produced tons and tons of films. But as a chessboard person, probably not for her. Which is fine. I certainly couldn't fucking do it.
You wouldn't want to try?
Ah, man, I'd love to try.
If she came to your house and offered you the job, would you refuse?
Right now I would say, of course I wouldn't refuse, but I think I need to think about it, Kev. Do you don't need to think about that? That's such a scary thing. I mean, I would love to think I've got these big ideas in my head and like a 3D cork board where I've got strings going across my wall from one board to another. But man, it's a lot.
I'd rather do it for Star Trek.
I would right. But I think it's easier to do for Star Trek. But then I think Star Wars is infinitely more easier than Marvel. I do not know how Kevin Feige does it.
Oh no, Marvel's a nightmare.
I swear,
there's so many characters.
I swear to God, I think Kevin Feige has blood sacrifices to the devil. He is. God.
He is Morbius.
He is Morbius. Do you think this film's going to be based on him?
How are they going to replace... Maybe they'll replace the Stan Lee cameos with Kevin Feige cameos?
When he leaves Marvel, I don't think they do it when he's still in the role. When he's still in the role at Marvel, I mean.
Will they substitute the Stan Lee cameos for someone else?
No, I don't think they will. If people did, maybe they should... Say people, idiots, say they should get Deadpool.
No,
that's a terrible idea, isn't it?
That's an awful idea.
But you get people in comment sections and, either unreputable sources and stuff, the same people talking about Spider-Man could be in there, Tobey Maguire could be in Doctor Strange 2 and all that. It's those same people. I'm not saying it's... I know I'm saying it's the same people.
That's like the same people who say...
Yeah, I know.
The Batman v DC crossover movies coming.
Batman v DC.
DC v Marvel. That's what I meant to say.
I thought so. But no, I think it's going to be... the same people... Or the same crop of people that are like, hey, guys, get Deadpool, get Ryan Reynolds, because we all love Deadpool. Woo! I think Deadpool 1's great. I think Deadpool 2 is decent. and I think Marvel probably don't know really what to do with Deadpool right now. I think they're probably going to keep it under the Fox banner, even though they've renamed that now. It's going to be called 20th Century Pictures. They're removing Fox from it, and Fox Searchlight's being called Searchlight Pictures or something. They're removing the Fox branding from them, but I think they're going to keep Deadpool under that brand and maybe not put him in the MCU, because I think it's very difficult. And it'd be absolutely awful for him to replace Stan Lee. I think the only person that probably could replace the Stan Lee cameos at this point would be Kevin Feige. But even then, I think he can't do it while he's in the job. I think he would need to leave first. And a lot of people think he's going to get maybe like after... Because at Disney, you've got Bob Iger, who's the evil mastermind of the whole thing. He acquired Lucasfilm,
Sure.
He acquired Marvel, he acquired Fox. People think he might even run for the president one day of the United States of America.
Wouldn't surprise me.
And underneath him is Alan Horn, who's the head of all Disney film. He's the head of Lucasfilm, he's the head of Marvel, he's the head of Pixar, he's the head of Disney Animation. And he actually was brought out of retirement. He was the head at Warner Brothers film, I believe. He is the person responsible for the Harry Potter films. And he had great success with them. He retired, then Bob Iger asked him to come out of retirement to oversee Disney film. But because he came out of retirement, he's kind of working on borrowed time anyway. So when he leaves, people think that maybe Kevin Feige might take that job because he's already a mastermind of chessboards. And maybe when he takes that job...
I love this chessboard analogy, by the way.
Yes, he's doing it, Kyle. And he's, people think maybe when Alan Horn leaves that job, Kevin Feige, because Kathleen Kennedy couldn't do it, she can barely do Lucasfilm. Yeah, I don't know who the heads of Pixar and all that are. John Lasseter left. And people think maybe Kevin Feige, that would be his next step up, because if he were, people say maybe he'll become the head of Lucasfilm.
Do you think this ends with Kevin Feige, head of Disney?
The CEO, I don't know. Because he's definitely a film guy, To be the head of Disney, you've got to... Because Bob Iger, he does the theme parks, he does the merchandise, he does the toys, the lunchboxes, the films are just one part of it. The video game adaptations, that's his thing, I don't know if at this point in his career, Kevin Feige, I don't think could do that yet. Maybe after he's been the head of Disney film for 20 years, maybe he could.
Does Disney still do video games?
I don't know, but you understand what I'm saying, basically,
I guess they did Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, there you go. So,
The trend of movie tie-in games is well and truly dead. It's a shame.
I'm not missing them, Kyle. I'll say that. But, people, Kevin Feige's also saying he's going to produce a Star Wars film. He's not going to be the chessboard man, but he's going to just produce one. Just one. But I people think maybe because he's an ideas evil genius, as we've spoken about, he might...
He'll adapt one of the Marvel comic, Star Wars comics.
No, if people think he might do, even though he's technically only doing one, he might find a way to weasel himself into being the overseer of like a 6-movie saga or something. But that's too much. He's the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, because when he's doing this one Star Wars film, he's still doing a bunch of Marvel films. So he's crazy. When he leaves Marvel as being the main man, I think maybe he could do cameos after that. But until then, I don't really think anyone can replace the Stan Lee cameos.
Stan Lee was a charming man. You can't replace him.
Can't replace him, especially not anytime soon. Maybe Tobey Maguire could do it.
I've been playing games. Have you been playing games?
I've been playing Call of Duty. Is that a game?
It is a game.
Playing some Fortnite.
I was amazed when I looked at your gamer score that you have so little gamer score. And could you want to explain how that's possible?
I have more gamer score than our other friends.
Like, specifically in Call of Duty, you only have 70 gamer score. It's crazy.
They're not,
how's that possible?
They're not... Call of Duty isn't made for the achievements, man. You cannot get the achievements when you're playing the game, but if you don't get them, you're not going to go back and look for them,
Maybe you're not. That's what achievements are to me.
They are for me.
Achievements aren't things you collect passively. Achievements are things you strive out.
They are when you play indie games, But I think that
Vidmaster achievements and all that. They're challenges that you have to accomplish.
Yeah, okay, right. That's games if games like Halo with Vidmaster, fine, that's a point. But if I've completed Call of Duty campaign, I got all the achievements that you can get passively by playing that. Maybe some other ones by accident. Maybe if there's difficulty ones, I've not went back and done that. There's the co-op mode that I've played a little bit of, but it doesn't really hold my interest. And then multiplayer achievements, I've done a lot of stuff in multiplayer. If there was ones I could get passively on that, I would surely have it by now. I've done so much on the multiplayer, just by, I'm trying to get all my guns to, because if you, obviously you complete a gun, you get the gold camo, as you know. But if you get all the guns to gold of a certain type, like all the assault rifles, you get platinum.
You get the diamond.
Platinum.
Platinum.
God.
Okay.
And then when you get all the weapons in the game that aren't like DLC weapons, DLC's free, but I mean like, all the added guns that came post launch.
Base game, yeah.
You get Damascus steel, and everything's got like a blue shimmer. And I'm about to get platinum SMGs, so I've got all them to gold. And then I've been kind of working on my assault rifles. I've got a lot of them to gold already, but there's still more to go.
And you make fun of me for achievement hunting.
I just want Damascus, man. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. And I'm also having a kick just playing Call of Duty, to be honest. I'm really enjoying this Call of Duty, and I'm kind of still playing a bit of Fortnite. I've got some stuff to do the season end soon. There's Birds of Prey things on right now. Birds of Prey. Ooh. But yeah, so that's my games. I've been too scared, too chicken shit to go back to Civilization 6.
So have I. I'm so ashamed. I bought it at full price and I played 2 games and like, this is too much. It's too much.
I'm so glad I never bought the DLC. So I was so prepared. I was going to spend the extra £30 to buy the entire expansion. I said, I love the game, I'll buy it all before the game comes out. But then I thought, no, I'll temper myself. I won't buy it unless I like it. But I thought, who am I kidding? I'm going to love it. But I didn't do it anyway. Just, I don't know. Something was telling me not to do it. And I don't know why. And I didn't. I'm so happy I didn't because I'm too scared.
Here's what we need. We need to do this together at some point.
We need to go on and play some
We'll record it. We'll make a thing of it.
I need to share that Xbox Live party chat.
I've been playing a bunch of games as I do.
Yes, what have you been playing?
End of last year, I was playing through the Far Cry series. An interesting series, very varied in quality and just in general gameplay. Mm-hmm. I liked some, didn't like Far Cry 5. People seem to like that one. I thought it was trash.
Go on.
It's one... Gameplay-wise, it's pretty good. It's fine. Setting-wise, it's set in rural Montana. Lovely, very pretty, scenic. But story-wise, it was just... Ugh.
Is this Far Cry 5, sorry?
Yeah, yes, Far Cry 5.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played Far Cry. Do you know the definition of insanity, man? I remember that's like
the most famous
Far
thing
Cry 3.
Far
I remember Far Cry Blood Dragon because that was like it was kind of like the Ballad of Gay Tony to GTA 4, where it was like a DLC, but you could play it independently.
Yeah.
And I'm familiar with Far Cry Primal, and then 4 and 5 just kind of were there. I didn't feel there was any hype for them. There probably was. I'm not saying there wouldn't have been.
There was more hype for Far Cry 4 than Far Cry Primal. People were mad at Far Cry Primal when it was first announced.
I know. That's why I'm more familiar with it.
I wish more franchises would do this, where they do their main title game, and then they do like a wacky spin-off game. They've done that for the past 3 games now, and I like that. I wish more game franchises would do things like that, where they use a lot of the same like assets and stuff, but they do something wildly different with it.
Yes, I get exactly what you mean, yeah.
And people seem to think it's lazy or something. I don't think it's lazy.
Well, remember your favourite Halo game is Halo 3 ODST. That's exactly what that is.
It's exactly what it is, and I think that's great, and I wish they would do that. It's a good way to save assets. You can produce it in less time because you've already got the engine working and stuff like that.
Far Cry Primal, the Far Cry 3 map, like it's the same geography, but it's
the Far Cry 4 map.
4 map, sorry. It's the same geography, but nothing's like obviously there's no modern structures.
It technically is, but I swear to God, I couldn't have told you that while playing it.
Yeah,
it feels completely different. You move around it differently. It's a similar layout, but you couldn't tell that.
Yeah, if you look at a map, maybe if someone told you, then you would see it.
Yeah, if you look at the map, the world map, it's obvious, but I don't think it's that big a deal. Sorry, I mean, people think it's a rip-off or whatever if it's a full game and it's fun. I don't think it's a rip-off, so sorry.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you about reuse assets and make like a fun spin-off, because it's people will make the argument that this should just be a DLC. Why is it a full game? You're just reusing assets. But I think if you can pack it with enough content, the fact that you're reusing assets should be a means to an end. If you can reuse the assets in an effective way, what does it matter?
Exactly. That's how I feel about it. Give those game devs a break. They're all overworked to death. Give them some games that don't require them to work themselves to death and ruin their families.
It's usually a different team, though, isn't it? Like, it's not the same people that make the spin-off that makes the main title, right? Like, I know for the
I'm not
I know
sure
for
about
the
that.
Master Chief Collection and Halo 5, it was completely different dev teams. I think
Sure.
for like Halo 2 Anniversary primarily would have been that. And I know for Halo Infinite and the people that are fixing MCC, I think there was no crossover there either.
I don't know if they're working on the spin-off titles at the same time, though. They might be, but I don't think so.
Maybe there's like pre-production going on at certain points.
Anyway, Far Cry Primal was actually my favourite on all of them I played.
I think
I didn't play Far Cry 2 because I don't hate myself, and I didn't play Far Cry 1 because I don't know if it's even available on Xbox One.
that old day.
Yeah, Far Cry 2 is the artsy one where they tried to make a game that isn't fun.
What do you mean?
Well, I looked into this. It's basically, the game is designed to be like tedious and annoying because it's part of the message of the game. It's very artsy.
Oh, like, if you got like too much stuff to kind of too many plates spinning at once.
More like guns have durability that runs out, and nothing is ever permanent, and it's all about nihilism.
Right.
It just doesn't sound like a fun time for me personally.
Right. Yes, I can see where you're coming from. Some games like that will really wear me down as well.
But the rest of them are all built around more like funness. Far Cry 3 is a fun game, but it's silly and dumb.
Yes.
Far Cry 4 has a good story. Far Cry Primal's, like I said, my favourite. Far Cry 5, dumb story, good gameplay. Far Cry New Dawn I actually enjoyed quite a bit.
Oh, what's that? What's New Dawn?
That's the post-apocalyptic spin-off of Far Cry 5.
I don't know about this one.
This one was also quite controversial when it came out.
So it's the same as Primal and Blood Dragon?
Yeah, you're reusing assets, it's cheap and stuff like that.
Is it like, there's a nukes went off in the same area?
Well, yes, that's the end of Far Cry 5. Big twist, nuclear bombs go off.
I think I've heard that before. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was a big deal because it's a stupid and dumb ending. And
Isn't that like a religious fanatic?
Yeah, so a religious cult.
Spoilers, by the way.
I don't care. Don't play Far Cry 5. Play New Dawn instead. Yeah, so like Montana's been taken over by this religious cult, and they're doomsday preppers, and in the end it's revealed he was right all along when the nuclear bombs come. But it does this thing, which is so common in games, and I hate it so much, where they say it's your fault for causing all of this violence. If you hadn't done all this violence against these murderers, drug victims, and brainwashers, then none of this would have happened, and all this chaos is your fault. You should have just sat by and let all these evil people do their bidding. And I hate that so much.
I think... see, I was confused because I thought that the spin-offs for Far Cry, like Blood Dragon and Primal, I didn't know they were canon. Like,
they're of questionable canonity. All of the series is like that.
Because Primal's like so far away from anything that it might as well be canon, doesn't make a difference. And,
they're more like episodes of Black Mirror than consistent stories.
Right, okay, because I was like thinking like I think I knew it was different protagonists per game. Because I knew it was different regions and stuff. But
that's my other favourite thing about Far Cry 5 is it has a silent protagonist.
Oh, does it? No dialogue?
That. No dialogue.
You
can choose your gender though.
Of course.
So that's something.
You played as a femoid.
I did play as a femoid.
What was her name?
Like my true self. They don't have a name.
No, you can't even give yourself a name. You know, some silent protagonists, you can give it. You're
only ever referred to as the rookie.
The rookie. Oh, so this is ODST.
Very original.
Very original.
I didn't make that connection in my head until right this second.
Were you walking around with Marty O'Donnell, sad jazz?
Well, see, they call you Rook, so it's different. See.
So you were Admiral Thrawn's bodyguard.
Roch. Let's find them, Roch.
Keeping this all connected, ladies and gentlemen, is Tobey Maguire in the game?
Tobey Maguire is in Far Cry 5, actually.
Seriously?
It's crazy. No, he's not.
You could have kept the bit rolling, Kyle.
Yeah, I don't like Far Cry 5. I have no idea. I think we're probably working on a Far Cry
The guy
6.
has a pink
They're
snazzy
successful
suit. That's what I
games.
know about it.
A pink snazzy suit in Far Cry 5.
No, that's what I know about it on the front cover.
It's not pink.
I thought it was perfect. The pink snazzy suit.
No, he has the creepy yellow sunglasses, but it's not a pink suit.
What's the colour of the suit?
I don't think he's wearing a vest. He's not wearing a suit.
Maybe I'm thinking of Far Cry 4. Hold on.
You're thinking of Far Cry 4 with pagan men. Yeah, he's the pink hair.
Is he pink hair? I thought it was a guy in a pink suit.
Oh no, he has the dyed blonde hair and a purple suit.
Hold on, I'm googling this.
Far Cry 4. You're thinking of pagan men.
Pagan men. Sounds like a Bond villain. Yeah, that's Far Cry 4, alright. That's a pink suit, man.
I feel like it's purple.
I'm looking at the picture right now.
Okay, well, this is excellent podcast material. I am also going to look it up.
We're looking at visual things in an audible medium, in a medium of audio. We're going to argue about the definition of the colour.
How about we say it's magenta?
It's magenta.
And we'll call it a draw.
Right, okay, magenta. Whenever I do Halo custom games, I always go Team Magenta.
So the other game series I've been playing more recently is The Witcher, because I watched the Netflix show.
Toss a coin to your Witcher.
I watched the Netflix show, and while I was watching, I was like, damn, I wish there was more Geralt in this show.
Yeah.
And I was
Geralt
like, oh shit, there's an entire game series where you always plays with Geralt. So I tried playing The Witcher 2. Like, I looked it up. It was 2015 was the last time I played it.
Oh, you've played it before?
I got one achievement in it, and then I decided it was too complicated and I wasn't enjoying it, so I left it.
Yeah.
So 5 years later, after watching the show, I'm like, I'm going to give this another shot. And you know what? I was wrong. I think maybe I was just too young to... Or not too young. I have a hard time with fantasy.
Right.
I don't know what it is. I think it's just names and magic systems and all this. It gets too hard to keep track of in my head.
Coming from the man who loves Skyrim.
I don't love Skyrim per se. Like, Elder Scrolls is a complicated mess.
It's a complicated profession.
Us. Friend Harris has more interest in that franchise than me.
Oh yeah, but I mean, considering how little I know about it, the way you two talk about it, you might as well be world champions.
Generally, when we talk about it, he's educating me on these things.
Ah, okay. I mute the chat, ladies and gentlemen. But
Well,
I don't mute. I just don't mind.
I don't know why sci-fi clicks with me more than fantasy, because if you look at it logically, it's the same issue. Like, you have to remember the Turians are at war with the Krogans because of genophage
it's the lore
and all this stuff. Yeah, it's just... It doesn't help with The Witcher 2 that all the names are, like, Polish, so...
Yeah, but one's, like, sleek and cool, and one's quite blunt force and primitive.
Maybe I just like sci-fi more.
Yeah, science fiction's great.
Whatever. I'm enjoying The Witcher. Very good game.
But when did the first Witcher game come out? Because it seems like no one has played it.
The Witcher. The reason no one's played the first Witcher is because it was a PC exclusive.
Right, but from what year?
Oh, I don't know.
Mid-2000s?
The Witcher 2 came out on consoles in 2012, but I think it came out before that on PC.
Right, okay. And then The Witcher 3 was the first big one that I know everyone's played.
Yeah. Everyone says, like, oh, you can just start with The Witcher 3, and I thought, well, I own The Witcher 2. I might as well play it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was reasonable. And you know what? I think people are being harsh. Unless The Witcher 3 is dramatically better, and I've only played the first couple hours of it, because I got in, the first achievement glitched. I took that as a sign that I should finish The Witcher 2. So I'm back on playing The Witcher 2 again to go through. Because The Witcher 2 does something interesting where it sort of branches into two different campaigns at one point.
Yeah.
Pretty early in the story, so to get like the full picture, you kind of have to play it twice.
two different. But you say two different campaigns. Is it like two different characters, or is it?
No, it's what you basically make a choice of which faction to choose.
So it's like Skyrim.
It's a lot better than Skyrim.
Great, because I've been told. Well, I've not been told, but I've always been aware of The Witcher, primarily The Witcher 3, even before the...
Of course, it's legendarily one of the best games of all time. Everyone always raves about The Witcher 3.
Yes, and I remember that. I remember the first E3 trailer for it, actually. And it was The Witcher, we never played it, but I'm familiar with it, and I was vaguely aware of it being books, and people played it. I didn't. But now the shows came out, and I should declare right now, I think the show's fine. It's a good, enjoyable show. But did it reinvent the wheel? Did it buggery? It's fine. It's a good show. I'm interested to see what season 2 does and what happens in it. But I am not jumping up and down like an excited schoolchild as I am for other franchises, because I think it's just decent. It's not amazing. And
I'm in the same boat until I played the games. I'm really enjoying the games.
Well, what I was going to say is that it's caught my attention enough to think, hey, I might delve in. I have Game Pass. I'll play The Witcher 3. Do I need to play the first 2 Witcher games I've asked? And people have said, you can just start on 3, as you've been also told. So, I think I'm going to play The Witcher 3 at some point.
I'm going to be the voice of...
Contrarian.
Yes. I'm gonna say that you should start on The Witcher 2.
Well, I'm sure people who played The Witcher 1 would probably say, no, you should start on The Witcher 1.
Here's the thing, though, you can't start on The Witcher 1 because it's PC. And also, from what I've been told, The Witcher 1 is rough to go back and play.
It's like Mass Effect 1?
No. Mass Effect 1 is playable.
Oh, right, okay, so The Witcher 1 is really it's a product of its time.
So I've been told. The Witcher 2 has aged, okay, I'm referencing off this because I had the same idea as famed YouTuber Michael Jones, who also went to play the games.
Right.
And I was following his progress on Twitter, and he tried playing the first game and said, this is just unplayable. So he jumped to The Witcher 2.
So he jumped... and The Witcher 2 is doable, right?
Yeah, from starting on The Witcher 2, there isn't really anything that I found that confusing. I looked up what happened in the first game just to be sure, and basically nothing that happened in the first game was relevant to the second game, so...
Right, okay. There may be some lines of dialogue, but it doesn't really matter.
I'm fairly sure there's definitely connections from the second game to the third game, though.
You've played the third one, yes?
I played a couple hours of it.
So things that have happened in the second game that get referenced in the third, and you're like, it would really have been helpful to have played the second game if you were to be someone that hadn't played it.
I think it's written in a way where it's not that important, but it's one of these things where if you played the second game, you'll be like, hey, that's a thing I know.
Yes, right, okay. It helps you feel more at one with the world around you.
Exactly.
Fair.
And also, just Geralt is a great game protagonist.
Is he? I always imagined him being like a Solid Snake type.
No, he's very similar to the show. Although he's softer spoken than he is in the show.
He says fuck a lot.
He doesn't say fuck that much, actually.
Wow.
But he's got that sort of sensitive badass type vibe.
Yes. Because I have a feeling that they think they're going to keep the show going for a while, because I know in the games he's an oldie.
Yeah,
I know he's an oldie in the show, but he's
around 100 years old in the games.
He's a young man.
You know what's fun? The games may have spoiled the twist for me in the show that's probably coming years later.
Yeah, well, from what I've been told from people that have played The Witcher 3, is that The Witcher 1 show, Season 1, feels like it's just all build up to what happens in the games. So, really, Season 2 of The Witcher on Netflix is kind of, you're going to start seeing bits of the games and maybe more of what people know of the books. Because I don't think they're basing this off the games. I never did. I think they're going to do it off the books.
No, it's definitely not based off the games.
Yeah, I knew that already. You know what's
funny is playing the games after the show is things get referenced in the games, which I have now seen in the show. They reference Balkovin.
Yes.
The first episode. And it's he's the butcher of Balkovin.
Yes.
I know what that means.
Because apparently,
There's a reference to-
apparently that's something that they only ever had in the books. Like, that was never in the games.
No, it's not. The games were set years after that. In fact, in the first game, he gets amnesia and loses all his memory. And then in the second game, he regains his memory.
See, people think that they're going to start bringing these elements into the subsequent seasons of the show, because eventually the show will kind of catch up to where the games are. Even though, I've said this, they're basing it entirely from the books, but I assume the games are taking from the books.
I think the show is taking visually some things from the games.
Yes, probably. He's not got his 2 swords yet.
He does have the 2 swords in the show.
Does he?
Yeah, for some reason he doesn't always use them, but they do show sometimes he has 2 swords.
Right, well...
That's a Witcher. It's silver for monsters, steel for men.
I can't remember that, Kyle, to be brutally honest with you. I think The Witcher's going to be one of those shows where I know I've watched, I couldn't tell you much about it. Like, for in Game of Thrones, these shows, I'm not supposed to compare the 2 shows. Balls to that, right? They are similar enough, and you can see their basic ideas. They're very similar in that respect. But then the Game of Thrones Season 1, I kind of knew where everything was. The end of Season 1 of The Witcher, I don't have a clue the geography of these kingdoms. I don't know where is where. When they're going somewhere, are they going south? Are they going north? I don't.
They're not quite as clear on that. Here's the thing with The Witcher show is visually, just because it's sort of dark fantasy, it's quite similar to Game of Thrones.
Yes.
But tonally, I think it's completely different from Game of Thrones.
Well, I think tonally it's very different. For Game of Thrones is fantasy, but I think it feels like fantasy in the real world. I feel like Witcher rather.
It's like historical fantasy.
Yes, it's like historical fantasy. Whereas I feel like this is just pure fantasy. Like,
there's no dwarves and elves and stuff.
Yeah, there's no real world parallels. Whether it's Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, there's like real world parallels. But I don't think.
You know what's weird though? I don't know if they do it in the show, but in the games they just use regular calendar. Like April, May, June, July.
Do they?
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be like a fantasy Earth?
I don't know. I noticed it. It's like, that's weird. They're just using regular dates. Like it's the year 1271, April 15th. It's like,
it must just be easier. You know, it helps us go along. It kind of breaks maybe immersion, but you know.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
Do you think they're going to make a Witcher 4?
Probably after Cyberpunk.
Is it the same studio?
Yes.
No clue. Yeah, okay, I can see that, but Cyberpunk's been delayed, and that's not coming out. Like, is that this year or next year?
Who knows at this point?
I think it's dated for late this year, but it'll definitely be for next gen at this point. Though I think, as we've spoken about before, I believe generations are going to become really merged and small gain grey and backwards compatible. It will become such a thing where you can probably play with people in 2 different generations.
Who knows? Who
knows, ladies and gentlemen? Who knows?
Witcher 2 recommended. Witcher 3 probably recommended when I actually play it.
What other games have you been playing?
Played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
I thought we'd spoken about this. I can definitely chime in on this.
I don't think we have to have spoken about this.
Well, have we not? Well, Jedi Fallen Order. It's a good game.
It's a pretty good game. Kind of short.
Difficult at first. I think it took me a while to master.
It takes a while to get used to the controls.
I think it is the best sword fighting combat I've ever seen in a video game.
Oh, you're full of shit.
Nah, I've never, because for instance, I think Battlefront is bullshit in that regard with them.
Oh yeah, Battlefront, the lightsaber conflict is trash.
You're just whacking into each other, but
that's because it's mainly a shooter.
Yes, but I feel like when you're fighting people in Fallen Order, the animations, you deliberately are interacting with your blades. You're not just whacking into them and they're fine. You're actually having a fight.
I'll give you that maybe it's the best lightsaber game. I'm not going to go as far as say it's the best sword game. That's nonsense claims.
I think it's the same principle. It's just one's a glowy sword and one's a steel sword.
You don't play sword games though.
I've played, what's that night game that you got really invested in out of nowhere?
For Honor.
I played For Honor.
For Honor has a better sword fighting system than Jedi Fallen Order.
I don't think so.
I think so.
You played more of that game than I did.
I've 100%ed that game.
Jesus
Thank you very much.
Christ.
Yeah, Jedi Fallen Order. I was pleasantly surprised. I think we mentioned it when the trailers at E3 came out, and I said it looked incredibly generic.
Maybe we flipped, because no, I feel it was incredibly generic story-wise.
I mean, story-wise, it was fairly generic, but gameplay-wise, it wasn't as generic as I was expecting.
I was going to play it for the story and just kind of accept the gameplay for whatever it was, but I've came out of it thinking the gameplay was much better than the story.
The thing is, I enjoyed all the exploration and stuff, but actually doing the exploring was kind of pointless, because all you got was a bunch of ponchos.
Oh yeah, I think they've learned a lesson there. Maybe someone really wanted to do ponchos because it's never been done before, even though it was a bad idea. Like, there's a reason no one done it before. You're not missing a trick, developer who thought that was a good idea. The only reason it's never been done is because it's a bad thing. They were all shit. I don't wear the poncho. There's because you can get like undergarment designs as well, and there's like one that's quite black, and I just wore the black undergarment design. And whenever I watched Let's Plays of the game, when I get lost or was looking for completion stuff, no one was wearing ponchos. Everyone has the same idea that ponchos are hard.
It's pretty hard to look badass in a rainproof poncho.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, fair enough if you're Clint Eastwood, but old Cal Kestis ain't Clint Eastwood.
What's his name? Matthew Monaghan or something? He was the Joker in Gotham. Whoever he is, he ain't Clint Eastwood.
No. He's very lanky.
He's Mr. Generic.
He does have red hair, so he's slightly less generic.
I find the Order 66 stuff was great because the Clone Wars is endlessly interesting, and seeing ruins of the Republic was interesting. The combat was good. The Trilla stuff was quite good. The Inquisitors. I never actually cared about Inquisitors until this game. I'll say that. Inquisitors and Rebels. Now
Inquisitor was fun.
Now when I go back to Rebels, I have a new appreciation for the Inquisitors, of who they are and what they've done. The Grand Inquisitor was fun, but I also think Season 1 of Rebels ain't that good. So, take that.
Rebels doesn't get great until Thrawn shows up.
Yeah, Season 3 I think that is. Though some of the Season 2 stuff with Ahsoka is good, and Darth Vader.
Sure.
But, yeah, so the Grand Inquisitor is good, but I think it's just overshadowed by a not that great show. But I have a whole new appreciation for Inquisitors. The stuff at the end, the grand finale, that they tried to hide when the game came out and just start putting in trailers all over the place. Mr. You-know-who. Mr. Asma. So...
he shall not be named.
He shall not be named, Lord Voldemort. And you know what? That was fun.
Incredible crossover. I can't believe he got the rights.
My God. When Alan Horn that done the Harry Potter films went over to Disney, he was taking everything with him. But that was stuff. I thought the crew was just boring. I never believed what's her name was a Jedi. I never believed she was an ex-Jedi.
I like the robot.
The pilot was boring. Dio was fun. The pilot was so boring. He says, "Grab some seat." And I was like, "This is like a tweak of language. Like he's an alien."
He does make a reference to Jedi Master Yaddle.
He does. The writing's not bad. I liked the Night Sister. She was fun.
Not in the game nearly enough.
But yeah, I don't feel there's anywhere to go with that story. A lot of people think it will get a sequel. I'm not ruling out making a sequel. I'm not going to be that dead set on it not happening. But I do think that they could just make another game with an entirely new rogues gallery of characters with the same gameplay.
I think that just because you're not invested in these characters doesn't mean the writers aren't invested in these characters.
I know, but I just don't think there's a story to tell. They've got to be dead at some point or ran away.
I think it'll get. I'm pretty confident it'll get a sequel.
Well, I hope for you we get a sequel. I'll play it. I don't hate the game. Also, the gameplay was outstanding. It done some good stuff that I enjoyed. I'm not that invested in the crew, the ensemble, but you know what? I will play it. I don't hate it. The word hate would not even come up when I think of this game. I'm just kind of ambivalent.
I of course 100%'d it and you didn't, because that's what I do.
Yes, I think did I get close though?
No.
Well, where am I?
Yeah. You're like 570, I think.
I'm over 50.
That doesn't make close.
I know that I've 100% of two worlds, I think. And there's the really big one, Logo or whatever, was the crashed Venators that you can swim around in. I went
Zepho.
When I went there, I went there for the story. Then when the story takes you away from there, I never went back. But when I was there the first time, I explored a lot. But the first time you're there, I didn't have the ability to swim underwater yet. So I know there's a whole bunch of stuff there that's underwater that I didn't have the ability to get last time I played.
There's a whole crashed starship.
Yeah, yes. I'm familiar that there are parts that I've not been to. And there's a bit I've got all the collectibles on Kashyyyk. Every collectible on Kashyyyk I have, but it's still only 97% completed because apparently there's a little part of the map I haven't been to yet. But see, when you open up the map, you know how like bits in darkness, bits you haven't been to, or there's like a green wall to say, hey, this is accessible to you now. There's nothing there, Kyle. Everything's opened
You're
up.
probably missing a Forsycle.
But I can't. But I've got all the collectibles, Kyle.
That's why you need to look at guides.
But
the game's pretty bad for that. I wish there was a every game should include a collectible map.
Kashyyyk is so big. Like Kashyyyk is so big, and there's no fast travel.
Yeah, no fast travel sucks.
You can fast.
That's something to do for the next.
You can fast travel from the end of the map down to the halfway point of the map because you need to get back, like the big flying bird.
You can ride on the big bird.
Yeah, you can do that. And I went all the way up to the top of the map. There's a bunch of lightsaber stations. So I basically replayed it like you were playing through the story. And then I checked all the little nooks and crannies. I have all the chests, all the echoes. And
Nathan, I did that 3 times before I found the last one that I needed.
But I have them all because the map shows you. The map's like you have however many chests out of however many. You have however many echoes out of however many. And I have them. I have 4 out of 4, 6 out of 6. And the map looks to be fully completed. There's no grey area. I've got a feeling there's like one dead-end corridor that I've missed out. But it's so fucking big.
There'll be some nook somewhere that you missed.
But there'll be a nook with nothing in it. I've got no reason to go there. And it doesn't show up on the map either.
And all you're going to get is a poncho. Customization, biggest thing they need.
Do you get a poncho for 100%ing a planet?
No, you don't.
But that's what I mean, I've got all the chests. There's nothing there for me. It's because I have 100% of the planet collectible wise, but you can also 100% a planet for exploration. I haven't. That's the exploration part I'm missing out on. I'm going mad, Kyle. I'm going absolutely mad. I actually stopped playing the game. I've still got it installed, but I stopped playing the game because of Kashyyyk. Because of that 3% where it's not apparent to me where I need to go to get it.
If you enjoy good exploration, you should play Tomb Raider.
Oh no. I'm going to play Rise of the Tomb Raider at some point.
You've been saying it for 5 years.
Yeah. I'm going to keep saying it until I do it. I have interest in it, Kyle. I genuinely have interest. I'm not lying about it. If I've got no interest in it, I'll just say I've got an interest in it. The first game's great. I really enjoyed the first Tomb Raider. A lot of fun. It's a good solid reboot. The film was based on it. That's apparently getting a sequel. That franchise is guns a-blazing at the moment in terms of quality. Though the people that saw the film might say otherwise, I will fight you. And the first game was great. I never played the second or third, not because I think they're bad. They're probably great. I don't know. For nebulous reasons, I never played it.
Second game's great. Third game's fine.
Third game's fine, ladies and gentlemen. That's his review. Is Tobey Maguire in it?
We're going to do an ad break while I go to the toilet, right?
Great.
Ad break.
Hello, listeners. Are you feeling unfulfilled with your website needs? Do you feel like no matter how hard you code, you just can't get ahead in life? Well, have you heard of our sponsor, Squarespace? They haven't actually sponsored us. I hope Kyle cuts this because this is embarrassing. I have no code to offer you or anything. I'm just going to talk. No, listener. If Tobey Maguire really does show up in Spider-Man, in Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness, I could make a bet with Kel that I'll eat my hat. But as I don't have a hat, that would be pretty pointless. And the reference of a politician saying he would do that at a previous general election will be lost on many of you.